Last night there was a beautiful conversation with my daughter. What was most touching? That this opening is happening not only for her but for her friends as well. They are opening to themselves, returning inward to see what is real, to see their origin. It is beautiful to see at such a young age that one is looking inward to their true self and starting to understand that suffering is not natural. Because when they were born, there was no suffering at all. A child wakes up, opens the eyes, no suffering at all. There is hunger, there might be pain, but there is no one suffering at that time, at that moment. And they are starting to see that suffering is not natural. And they are investigating what is that suffers. And it is beautiful to see at that such young age. They sense that constant struggle, fear, comparison, and pressure come from a misunderstanding of what they believe themselves to be. At birth, there was no idea of me as it is known today. No name, no identity, no image. They had no idea about the world, what they see, what they perceive. That light which sees through the eyes is not judging, not comparing, nothing at all. Slowly, language arrived. My boy, my girl, my baby, you are beautiful. This is your name. This is who you are. And it repeats every moment in front of the mirror. Look at your face, look at your teeth, look at your nose. You are more, you are less. That repetition, the child has no other way. It learns everything, it absorbs what is dished out to the child, that is yet to become someone. And from that repetition, a self was learned. An image was formed, a boy was claimed, a girl was claimed. But what is alive, what is present, was never born into that image. It was simply expressing through it. This video is not about answers, it is about noticing what is assumed and gently looking again. So let's begin with a simple question. Because even when there is a sense of awareness, noticing itself, the mind comes in and mind claims that I know, I notice myself. That is still the mind. And you have to be really careful that not allowing mind again to define everything, to claim everything. So these are just simple things, questions, not to answer, but to see through. We say we are consciousness or awareness, but who is saying that? The statement I am awareness already assumes a speaker. Something is claiming something else. That claim is the mind. Awareness does not announce itself, it does not describe itself, it does not need to be known. If there is a sense of someone knowing awareness, that someone is the old identity wearing a new idea. Second, am I experiencing awareness, or is experience appearing in awareness? Am I the one who I believe I am is claiming the awareness, or awareness itself is aware of itself? There can't be two. One who is saying that I am aware is still the mind. Awareness cannot claim itself that I am aware of awareness itself. It is itself. If awareness is experienced, it has become an object, and whatever is experienced is not what you are. Experience comes and goes. Awareness does not arrive with experience and does not live when experience ends. Notice, experience changes. The knowing of it does not. Any experience that you have will change. You might feel good today, tomorrow you will not feel good. You might experience a blissful moment, but then you can experience something else, that you are burdened, you are in problem. Those experiences change, but that who is looking at experience itself does not change. It does not attach itself to that experience of cold, hot, infection, disease, old age. Because that which is beyond the physical is not attaching itself to the physical. That is mind who is again coming in, and you have to see through. Third, when I say I am noticing, who is this I that is noticing? When I am noticing, is that noticing itself noticing, or that I that is mistaken itself to be someone is saying that I am noticing? That sense contains two movements, the noticing and the one claiming to notice. The noticing is effortless, without any words, instant, in this moment, noticing. The claim is the thought. The mind comes in that I am noticing, I am doing this. You see that through, and don't allow the mind to come in again. You control the mind. If noticing needed an I, it would stop when the I disappears. If I comes in and says, I notice this, then I will go, but noticing remains. So the permanence or the truth is the noticing itself, not that I that coming and noticing, that is the mind. But noticing remains even when the idea of me is quiet. Just like when you sleep, you are not awake when you are deeply asleep. What you know now yourself is sleep. But when you wake up, you say it was beautiful. The sleep was, I don't know anything, and it was wonderful. There was something who noticed, who was awake. Even when you or your mind was asleep. Or when you get up, you say it was not a good sleep. I had dreams. Still, noticing was there, the mind chattering, even in dream state. The movie, the thoughts are coming. You watched a show, a horror movie that plays on, just like a car revving up slowly, cooling down. So you have to see through that. That noticing itself is noticing not anything or anyone, noticing. Is awareness located behind the eyes, or does that idea appears in awareness? Behind the eyes, before the sight leaves, is a sensation plus a thought. Both are perceived. What perceives location cannot itself be located. The body appears, the sense of inside and outside appears, the idea of a center appears. None of these are the perceiver. That what is noticing in, out, body, trees, cloud, space, desk, camera, jacket, all that, is perceiving all that, using the mind and making sense of the world, but that itself cannot be defined by anything. It is seeing through everything. And when the thought comes that I know myself, that is the mind. Because there can't be two, the self that is known and I that is claiming. If there is only one, that truth is one, that what is known by God, Allah, or whatever, is all there is, this existence, nature is one, then there can't be two. That is the mind trying to claim. 5. If awareness is real, why is there still confusion and suffering? If you have come to that point where awareness is aware of itself, then suffering should stop. The suffering only happens when you mistake yourself for this person, this body only. Because anything will happen to this body tomorrow and suffering will come. Because you still, mind is clinging to this, that I am this face, this body, this person, this man, this girl. And if something happens to this body tomorrow, a disease, old age, teeth will fall, the wrinkles, the suffering will remain. That is still the mind is trying to play a game. You have to see through that game. That itself which is looking through the body is not the body. It is using this vessel. And awareness is not confused. It is the mind getting confused. Awareness is always aware of everything, and it can choose to be aware of itself. Suffering does not belong to what is aware, it belongs to what is claimed. The moment awareness is claimed as mine, a center forms. That center carries fear, effort, and responsibility. When the claim is not followed, nothing needs to be fixed, nothing needs to be healed. What remains was never disturbed. Because it was there when you were born, when that which cannot be described came into this form, has no idea about itself. Now it has become someone, a man, a conqueror, trying to be more. That is suffering. Because whatever you will become, it will always be compared with something that you want to be like. And that comparison, that wanting, that desires are part of the mind, part of the center. And the center is the sufferer. There is no final answer here, only the quiet noticing of where each question points. And if nothing is concluded, nothing new is added, nothing old is held. What remains does not need a name. Because name cannot define it. Language cannot define it. It is in every fiber of this universe that itself now trying to notice itself from this point, because you can only experience cold or hot from this body. You cannot experience cold or what hot feels like through someone else's body. Call it Jesus, call it Guru Nanak, call it all these wise men that mind attaches to. Same way you can experience yourself through this vessel, that awareness can experience return to itself through this separation, that now it becomes someone. Seeing that separation, the comparison happens. Without the separation, there is no comparison. You cannot see day without night. Night has to be there for day to reveal day. Even silence has to be there for sound to appear. Without the silence, sound cannot appear, and without the sound, the silence cannot be experienced. That is how this works. So existence is perfectly working, because it also needs to separate from itself to have that comparison. What is that? What is separate? And whatever is left behind, that is what is truth. That is always looking, always experiencing, but just not experiencing itself, not attending itself, not seeing its true self, not getting lost in words, not getting lost in ideas, not getting lost in notions, concepts, this, that. Just before any word can be said, it is already here. Not the one who speaks and you are listening to, that is just a recorded video. This video is just recorded. The person that you perceive is not there in the phone. But what is alive is the one who is listening. Behind the listener, there is something that can pay attention to itself, and you are out of it. You know yourself, and nothing is left to define it. No center left. That itself, everywhere, on every fiber of this universe and beyond. That is complete freedom from all the suffering, including what is called birth, death. Nothing remains when you see the mind through. Breath comes, heart is beating, gravity is holding, space is allowing you to move. Everything is happening, and you are part of all that happening. Not just a small center, and not just a small sand on the beach, but the whole beach is you. That's how beautiful and featherless, and how vast that is, which cannot be defined.